Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen, Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. All right, so does anyone remember where we stopped last time? I think we start talking about alamat al-rafa', right? So before we continue, I will do a quick revision of the four statuses of i'rab. So when we say the word i'rab, what it means that the word has flexibility to exist in different capacities, on different capacities within the sentence. Mabni, a word that is mabni, means that a word that doesn't have different capacities, can only exist in one form. It doesn't have the ability to exist in different capacities. So words, we go into two. So mabni, right? And these words are a bit more, they lack flexibility. They can exist on different capacities within the sentence. And then mu'rab. And mu'rab means that a word has the ability to exist on different capacities within the sentence. Now, what are these different capacities? There are four statuses. 1, 2, 3, 4. There is rafa', there is nasb, there is jar or khafd. Either word works, right? So please keep that in mind. And jazm. Mu'rab means existing in different capacities. In sentences. That's what mu'rab means. Mabni is the opposite. Mabni says no, it can only exist in one capacity. There's really no other way for us to look at it, right? Mu'rab says no, this word, depending on where it exists in the sentence, works in different ways, right? So how do we know on which capacity or in which capacity this word is existing in the sentence? Well, we have four markers, right? So we have four statuses basically. Rafa'. So you can write this down if you want, because this may help you out. Rafa' means that it's the main word in the sentence, or it's either the main word of the sentence, or it's untainted with, or it's unchanged, it's unaffected by anything else. It is on its original, in its original form. So main word of a sentence, or untainted or unchanged. Right? Nasb, there's nasb, it's either secondary word in a sentence, or changed, affected by something in the sentence. Something came and affected it in the sentence. I'll give you many examples of that, inshallah. Jar means unnecessary. Now I have no idea how to write unnecessary. Unnecessary word in a sentence. So a word that's unnecessary is jar. Jazm is a neutral word. Neutral. What's another word? Another way to put this? Either neutral. Yes, I would just stay with neutral, meaning it's a neutral word in the sentence. It's neither of these. It's a capacity that is none of the. And you can add to that or restricted. What's a restricted word? And I'll explain these things as they come along. But these are important. If you understand what these are, if you understand that there's four capacities or statuses that a mu'rab word can exist in a sentence, then this helps you understand it. This is how Arabs build their sentences. They have a way of doing it. Because unlike English, sometimes you can put the words in different sequence in the sentence, right? But but the status of the word is not based on sequence. It's based on having one of these four statuses. And then there are markers for us to know what status it has. Meaning, rafa' is a status of a word. What are the markers of rafa'? What will tell us that this word is marfu', has been given the status of rafa'? There is 1, 2, 3, 4 things for us to know. Nasb, if this word is mansub, it's been given the status of nasb. What are the markers? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The same thing for jar, the same thing for jazm. So what is the most notorious or famous marker for rafa'? Dhamma, right? So the most notorious is dhamma. But that's not the only one, right? That's not the only one at all. There's actually many others. Nasb, the most notorious one for it is fatha, jar is kasra, and jazm is sukun, right? These are the famous markers, right, of these four statuses. But to say that marfu' equals madmum with a dhamma on it, meaning, or to say mansub equals maftuh, or to say majroor equals maksur with a kasra, or to say majzoom equals sakin is very wrong. And it fails 80% of the time because that's not true. But they are the most famous markers. So these four things are statuses that a word can have within a sentence. And then that status, each status has a number of markers that will tell us that it has that status or it doesn't. Now what are these markers? That's what we're going to study right now. We're going to look at those markers. But this is important that you understand this, that the words are either mu'rab or mabni. This is of course after we studied at the beginning of the text, we studied nouns, verbs and prepositions, right? Af'al, يعني asma wa huruf. And we looked at there's three types of words. But now within those types, another categorization is to say that some words are flexible within the sentence, they can have different capacities, and some words aren't. Now mabni, we'll study those at the end because they're simple, there are not many of them. But mu'rab is the majority of words, and a word can have different capacities. It can be the main character. It could be the secondary character. It could be a tertiary character. It could be unnecessary completely to the sentence. Right? Okay. Where did I put my, here it is. All right. So what we read last time, what is the page, so in the English, so if you have a text, the text is written twice in the notebook that you have. At the beginning it's written translated, and then at the end if you go farther in, it's written without translation, and there's notes, and there's space for note taking at the second half. Okay, so it's written twice. Where we stopped in the translated version, page 4, right? At the beginning of page 4, صح? So the beginning of page 4 is where we're going to start. Now in the non-translated version, if you want to write notes because there's more space for notes over there, it's page 7. So if you just so you know where we are, right? So if you want to use the untranslated part to write notes under it, then we're at page 7. So what the Imam Al-Ajurroomiyyah rahimahullah al-Musannif says is فَأَمَّا الضَّمَّةِ فَتَكُونُ Oh yeah, so we read, yeah. So first of all, just as a revision of last time, لِلرَّفْعِ أَرْبَعُ عَلَامَاتٍ. For rafi' there are 4 markers, right? الضَّمَّةُ وَالنُّونُ وَالْأَلِفُ وَالْوَاوُ. So 4 things, right? So there's 4 markers for rafi'. I hope this clarified a few things for you. I may repeat it a few more times in the future, just so that inshallah everyone understands. And why are they called rafi' and nasb and jar? Rafi' means elevated. So the main character is always elevated, or the untainted word is elevated, it's giving a higher. Jar is something that is much slower. Nasb is in the middle. And that makes sense. So even the words that they use to describe statuses are actually quite, and they correlate quite nicely with the status of the word in the sentence. So al-rafi', alamat al-rafi'. Markers of rafa'. Now it's impossible, as I said, to translate rafa'. Rafa' is a status. There's no translation for it. There's nothing I can say that will make sense in translation. It's just a status of a word in a sentence, either a main character or untainted word. Right? That's what one of those 2 things is going to be. So what are the markers of rafa'? Alamatul rafa'. 4 things. Number 1, of course, the one that we all know is al-dhammah. Right? So at the beginning of page 4 he says, rahimahullah, فَأَمَّا الضَّمَّةُ فَتَكُونُ عَلَامَةً لِلرَّفْعِ فِي أَرْبَعَةِ مَوَاضِعٍ. And as for the dhamma, it will be seen, or it will be a marker for rafa' in 4 situations, right? Number one, في الاسم المفرد, in the singular noun. الاسم المفرد, a singular noun. Mufrad, singular. Ism, noun. Example. Think of anything you want. So a name, Muhammadu or Muhammadun. Now you can say, well, what? Oh, now you put two. When we say dhamma, we mean either or. We mean dhamma or tanween dhamm, right? But there will be a point during our study where we will differentiate between tanween and dhamma, because some words can't take it and some words can. But for now, it's going to be interchangeable. So dhamma and tanween are the same thing as far as we're concerned. Al-kitab, bu, right? Sorry? Kursi. Etc. Right? So any singular noun, if it is given the status of rafa' in a sentence, then the marker of it is going to be a dhamma. Does that make sense? This is what we're learning right now. So if you were to see the word kitab, right, in a sentence, but it doesn't have a dhamma on it, it has a fatha on it. Is it marfu'? No. It's not marfu' because it has a fatha, it doesn't have a dhamma, right? So that's what you know. This is what you've learned right now. Right now, what we've been able to achieve right now with this information we've been given is that if you see a word which is a singular noun, you were able to identify it as a singular noun. Of course, how do you identify singular nouns? That's vocabulary, and we'll go into that inshallah as we move along. But for now, just to say you identified this as a singular noun. Well, if it has a fatha on it, that means it's definitely not marfu'. And if it had a dhamma on it, then you can know that it's marfu'. That you'll know that it's marfu' within the sentence. Now we're like, well, how does that help me? Well, right now it's not going to help you much because we still haven't studied what types of elements of the sentence are marfu'. For example, a subject is always marfu', right? Right? The one who's doing the action is going to be marfu' 99% of the time. So if kitab has a dhamma, then it's usually the subject. If it doesn't, it's a mansoob, then it may have a different status. And if it has a kasra, then you can say immediately that it's not marfu', right? Now you can't say right now it's mansoob or majroor because we haven't studied we haven't studied the rest of the status and their markers, but we will be able. So this is what you're learning to be able to do. Now you say, well, that's not helpful for me right now. Just be patient. It's like you're studying math. We're building a number of formulas. We're learning a bunch of concepts. When we have the fundamentals in us, then when we take a sentence, you'll find how easy it becomes to break it down into its elements once you understand, and then you'll find how you'll see it's easier to build the sentence having these pieces of information in your mind, right? So maybe this is not the first thing you want to jump to. You're like, well, talk to me about mubtada and khabar and fa'il. We will. Just for now, if you can just, because right now we're learning to identify words, looking at a word and then seeing something on it and saying, oh, because it has that on it, then it must mean, this. It must mean this. Okay. So في الاسم المفرد. وجمع التكسير. جمع التكسير. The plural, the broken plural basically. The broken plural, I'm right. So it's not actually broken, but when you take a singular word and turn it into plural in Arabic, there are actually ways to do it. Like there's actually little codes or equations, meaning methods that are standardized that you do it. Like mu'min will turn into mu'minun, Muslim into muslimun or muslimin, and if it's mu'minah, it becomes mu'minat, or muslimah becomes muslimat. So there's certain ways to do it, and then there is a way that has no method. Right? There's a way. There are words that are plural, but they were turned into plural without a clear method of how to do it. So it's called a broken plural, meaning we just changed the sequence of the letters a bit. We added a letter here, or just subtracted a letter here, and it turned into a plural. But there's no actual method. It doesn't fall under one of those standardized ways of turning a singular word into a plural. Now in English, most of the time you just add an S to it, right? Add S. Just put the S at the end of it, khalas, it's plural. In Arabic there are similar ways, but sometimes you turn a word into plural in a broken manner. I mean, it's just kind of yeah. No, what? Well, the word ruz, they differ whether it's actually plural or jama' to begin with, right? Because what are we talking about? We're talking about the actual. So ruz is rice, right? So actual grain of rice, or rice as a concept, or like the word insan. The word insan, is it plural or is it jama'? Right? Most scholars say it's plural. It's a singular. I mean, most scholars say it's singular, but it's also talking about the human race, so it could be plural. So some words are differed upon, whether, especially when they're talking about large groups of anything. So I'll give you examples of jama' taksir. So what's the plural of masjid? So masjid, what's the plural of masjid? Masajid. So this is jama' taksir. We just added an alif right there in the middle, right? There is no, that's not a method of how to do things. It's just that's how it happened. Why? I don't really know. And there is no law. There's no formula. It's just this is how Arabs speak. They say, when they want to say a plural masjid, they say masajid. That's how they say it. It's called jama' taksir, to the broken plural. Yeah.
English, you could use examples like beef.
There you go. So mouse and mice, right? So why is it not mouses? Right? So why is it not that? We don't know. So it's just, that's how it is, right? So it's called jama' taksir, right? A broken plural. Let's think of other examples. Kitab, since we used that first up there. What is the plural? Yeah, kutub. Kutub. Right? What are we studying right now? We're saying that the marker of rafa', pay attention to this, the marker of rafa' for jama' taksir, for a broken plural, is dhamma. That's what we understood, right? That's what we established right now. So if you see the word kutub with a double kasra on it, or fatha, then you can say it's not marfu'. It's not marfu'. If it were marfu', it would have two dhamma on it. That's what we would have found. Right? That's basically what we established with saying these words. And there's of course many other examples in Arabic language. The third, وجمع المؤنث السالم. Number 3, جمع المؤنث السالم. So the sound feminine plural. Right. The sound feminine plural. So example, I gave you 2 examples a second ago. So sama, what's the plural? Samawat. And the marker of rafi' for it, if it's marfu' in the sentence, if it's given the status of rafi' in the sentence, is 2 dhamma, sama. And then muslima, or mu'mina, or qanita, or ta'iba, right? And then muslimat, mu'minat, qanitat, ta'ibat, wa'abidat, sa'ihat, all. What is the common thing for them? The alif ta at the end of it, right? So this is an example of plurals in Arabic that are standardized. There's a method for it. You take it and then you give it to an alif and ta at the end of it. We're going to talk about jam' al-mu'annath as-salim later on in the study. Again, we'll look at it on its own, as its own entity. But for now, anything that is a plural with at the end of it, any plural that has at the end of it, then the dhamma is going to be its marker of rafa'. All right? Forgive the confusion a bit, but take time to process all of this, because it'll help you very much at the end, inshallah, if you have clarity on it. So jam' al-mu'annath as-salim, the sound feminine plural, right? Which has, how we know it, there's alif ta at the end of it. What other examples do we have? Besides the ones that I gave, mu'minat, muslimat, give me something else. Yeah, so that's all descriptions of people. Mushrikat, munafiqat, all the same. Muslimat, mu'minat. What else do we have? Something that's not descriptive of people, maybe. Like samawat was an example. Jannat, very good. So Jannah, plural. Jannat. So a way to know sometimes if this word is going to be given a sound feminine plural is if there's a ta' marbuta at the end of it. Right? If you see a ta' marbuta at the end of a singular noun, then the plural most likely is going to be in the form of a sound feminine plural, jannat, right? So that's how it is. And the marker of rafi', of the status of rafi' for a word like that, for a sound feminine plural, is dhamma. Right? So that's what we established right now. Okay. Now the fourth one, the fourth word that takes takes dhamma as its marker or indicator of rafi' is, I'm gonna put it up here. Al-fi'l, the verb, al-mudari', so the present verb, I guess, the present tense verb, الذي لم يتصل بآخره شيء. The present tense verb which has nothing attached to the end of it. الذي, the one, الذي لم يتصل بآخره شيء. And I'll tell you why that's important in a second. So what's an example of a present tense verb? Just give me any present tense verb that comes to your head. You know, give me something else. You're right, but just give me something for means of limiting confusion. No, Sheikh, if I find something that doesn't have a ya at the end of it, okay, let's say yadrib. We're Arabs, yadrib, it's always yadrib, so it's always going to be hit. So yadrib is a present tense verb that doesn't have anything attached to the end of it, like yadribun maybe, or yadriban, or tadribin. See, that's something at the end of it. Or yadriba, or yadribu, or yadribna. Right? So none of that. It's just the final letter, that's the last letter. So a present tense verb that is like this gets say dhamma. Okay? Yal'ab, yaqra. So if we know what is the marker of rafi' for a present tense verb that it has nothing attached to the end of it, it's a dhamma. Now the beauty of the dhamma, I guess, when you want to compare it to other harakat, is that the dhamma only serves as a alama for rafi', as a marker for rafi'. It won't serve as anything else. Now, not everything marfu' will have a dhamma on it, but everything with a dhamma on it is marfu'. Are you understanding how this works? It's in math they used to tell us it's this sign. So it's not both ways. It doesn't go with me. So if you see a dhamma, then it's marfu'. If you see dhamma, then it's marfu'. We don't have a dhamma doesn't work as a marker for any other status. But if you see marfu', can you say it's going to be a dhamma? No. So it could be one of the other three. It could be alif or noon or waw. Right? It could be two or three other markers. But if you see a dhamma on the end of a word, you can say it's marfu' with all complete confidence. Now dhamma serves as a marker of rafi', as a marker of the status of rafi' for 4 types of words. For the singular noun, for the broken plural, for the sound feminine plural, and for the present tense verb that has nothing attached to the end of it. And we gave you a number of examples. Does that make sense so far? Like, I understand, we will repeat these many times as we go along until inshallah they sink in, but as long as you can understand what we're talking about, you're not feeling it's too confusing at least. Alright, so that's the notorious dhamma. That's the first marker of rafi', which is dhamma. We studied that it and we added this little concept to it, right? That if you see a dhamma, you can say it's marfu'. Go ahead, enjoy. Call it marfu' right away. But not everything marfu' is going to have a dhamma on the end of it. All right, so let's take this up. And dhamma serves as a marker of rafi' for 4 types of words: the singular noun, right? The broken plural, the sound feminine plural, and the present tense verb that has nothing attached to the end of it. Now the second, وَأَمَّا الْوَاوُ. Right now we're going to move on to waw. The waw, the letter waw. فَتَكُونُ عَلَامَةً لِلرَّفْعِ فِي مَوْضِعَيْنِ. It will be a marker of rafi' in two situations, right? Only in two circumstances it will be علامة of رفع. Number one, في جمع المذكر السالم. جمع, that's the first situation. المذكر السالم. The sound masculine noun, right? The sound masculine noun. Like what? مسلمون, مؤمنون, قانتون, التائبون, العابدون, الحامدون, السائحون, الراكعون, الساجدون, الآمرون بالمعروف والناهون عن المنكر والحافظون لحدود الله. What's the common thing is the waw and noon at the end of it, right? So, because what could you say that's almost the same meaning? So Muslimun, could you say also Muslimin? Is that a word? It is a word, right? So the difference is being the waw and then the ya. So the marker of rafa' for a sound masculine plural is the waw, right? It's that waw. Because what could it be in contrast? It could be Muslimin, right? Now, do all masculine singular nouns turn into sound masculine plurals? No, not all of them. Right? Many of them don't. Like kitab. Kitab is a singular masculine noun, right? Huwa kitab. So do we say kitabun? No. No Arab has never ever said that. And if you say that, you'll sound ridiculous. So never say kitab. It's kutub. That's how it's turned into plural. But many masculine singular words will turn into sound masculine plurals, like muslimun, mu'minun, qanitun, ta'ibun, abidun, sa'ihun, munafiqun, mushrikun, kafirun, right? So the thing that is common amongst them is the waw and the noon at the end of it. Now the waw is the alam of rafa', the noon isn't. The noon doesn't change. Whether it's marfu' or mansub or majroor, the noon doesn't change, but the waw does. The waw is the marker of rafa' for this word. So there's another ayat in the Quran. إِنَّ الْمُسْلِمِينَ وَالْمُسْلِمَاتِ وَالْمُؤْمِنِينَ. So when you say mu'minina, is it marfu'? Can you say it's marfu'? No. Right? You can say right away, this sound masculine plural is not marfu', because if it was marfu' it would be mu'minun, because its marker is the waw and this is not a waw. It would say, yeah, it's something else. Is that making sense so far? All right. So that's the first situation. Second one, وَفِي الْأَسْمَاءِ الْخَمْسَةِ. And then the five nouns, or the five, I guess, special nouns, or what do you say here? Oh, exceptional. So the five exceptional nouns. Okay, that's nice. Exceptional. I like exceptional. All right. الأسماء الخمسة. There are five nouns in the Arabic language that do their own thing. They have their own little rules working for them. And the five words are وهي أبوك وأخوك وحموك وفوك وذو. Or here he's taking the example وذو مال. So those five have specific rulings. Now there's a lot of different things that surround them. I'll just talk about this one here and I'll leave. We'll study them in a bit more detail inshallah later within this text inshallah. But the word ab, akh, ham, fu and dhu, right? Isn't that what fu? Yeah. Ab, father, right? So كيف حالك يا أبو فلان, right? That's actually wrong in Arabic. It's يا أبا فلان. Right? You didn't say يا أبو, right? أخ, there's أخوه or أخاه or أخيه, right? أبوه, أباه, أبيه, right? Ham is the in-laws, right? So حموه or حماه or حميه. Fuhu is the mouth. If you need just to understand the meanings of the word. So this is the father of, brother of, in-law of, mouth of, dhu, the owner of, right? So if you have money, we'll say anta dhu mal, right? Or if you have status, anta dhu sultan, or dhu jah, we'll say dhu. So dhu means the owner of, or the possessor of something. So what is the marker of rafa for these 5 words that always come to 5 nouns that always come together wherever they go? You find them together. Is the waw. So we say abu and akhu and hamu and fu and dhu. But there's always something after it. It's never like that. You never say the word abu with a waw and nothing after it. That's insane. That never works in Arabic. There has to be something after it. So it's either going to be a pronoun or another. So abu could be a name after it. So Abu, that's my dad, Abu Adnan, right? So Akhu Abdul Rahman. Or you can just wipe that out if you like, and just use a pronoun and say Akhuhu or Akhuha, right? The same thing, Hamuhu. Fuka, for when you're talking to the person in front of you. Fuka, your mouth. And the Prophet ﷺ did in the hadith, La fudda fuka. He once made dua for one of the Sahaba. La fudda fuka. May your mouth never be harmed. And they say he lived until like 100 and something, never lost a tooth. And always had, radiallahu anhu, always had perfect teeth. He was he was a centurion. And we were 15 and 16 and 20, and we pulled out 5 or 6. La fudda fuka, fuka, right? So fuka. Dhu, and the Quran is filled with dhu. Right? So there's a lot of ayat in the Quran that have the word dhu in it, and it's always it's to talk about possession or the owner of something. Dhul Qarnayn. There you go. You got someone to give us an example. Dhul Qarnayn, the one with the 2 horns, or the helmet with 2 horns, right? The owner of the helmet with 2 horns. So Dhul Qarnayn. Now, so if you were to see one of these words without the waw at the end of it, so if you were to see Aba Adnan, then you could say immediately, oh, this is not marfu', because the marker of rafa' for these 5 words, you have to memorize the words. Ab, akh, ham, dhu, fu. You have to remember those 5 words, right? It is the waw. If you see akhiha, then you know that this is not marfu', because if it was marfu', for marfu' you would have found the waw. And the same thing. So faka, you can say faka, but that means all that it means is that it's not marfu'. If it was marfu', you would have found waws everywhere, because that is the marker of rafa' for these 5 nouns, is the waw. Confusing? A bit? Sorry, but inshallah we will look at it from different angles until it makes sense, inshallah, for you. But it's a language. What are you expecting, Yani? But yes.
Not the pronoun, but there just has to be a waw attached to each of the last words before you add the pronoun.
Yeah. So there has to be something. So there has to be a waw, and there's something after it.
Yeah.
There's going to be something after it. There's going to be a word, a pronoun. Something's going to be there. It cannot be. You will not find a waw and then nothing. It won't be the end of the sentence. There has to be something after it. If there's nothing after it, then you just take off the waw. So the word ab exists in the Arabic language.
So both abuka, abuhu, abuha, they're all dhamma with rafa' because they have the waw.
You have the waw. Yeah. But the thing is, the word ab is a singular noun. If it's not connected to anything, right? Then if it's not connected to anything, then what is the marker of rafa' for a singular noun? Dhamma, right? So abun, right? Because it's not connected to anything. There's nothing after it. So when we talked about these 5, there has to be connection. Has to be connected to something after it. That's why I said you'll find the waw, and then you have to find something after it. If there's nothing after it, then 1, 2, 3, 4, dhu doesn't exist any other way, right? The first 4 will turn into singular nouns. Singular nouns will have dhammat on top of it. I'll repeat that one more time. So the first 4, father of, brother of, in-law of, or the mouth of, if they're connected, then the waw is going to be the marker of rafa', and there's going to be something after the waw. There's going to be either a word or a pronoun. If there's nothing, then they turn into singular nouns again. They go back to and what is the alama of rafa' of a singular noun? What is the marker of rafa' of a singular noun? It's going to be a dhamma. Right? So abun, akhun, right? Hamun, right? Now the word fu is, there's a lot of differential of opinion about whether it works or not without being attached to anything, but sometimes it does. But let's make it less confusing. Just the first three, all right? Just focus on the first three. The first three, if they don't have anything on top, if they have nothing after them, then they'll turn into singular nouns. Hamun, right? And if they are attached, once they are attached to something, when you're saying, then it's going to turn, the waw is going to be their alama of rafa', and the alif is going to be the alama of nasb, and the ya is going to be alama of jar. We'll come to those as we move along. Every time you study one of the statuses, we're going to say, what's the marker? We'll come back to these again. So we'll repeat them enough times until you inshallah memorize them and you have no problem with them anymore. Is there a question? Let me move on. Yes?
Does it always have to have a tanween?
No, again, for now, like I told you, tanween and dhamm, meaning the haraka and the tanween of it, are the same for now. For now, when I put tanween or I put the haraka without tanween, then you see no difference until I'll take a time and explain where the differences sometimes will exist. But for now, you're just going to act like they're the same thing. Yeah.
So you're saying that for those 5 words, that if they have the fatha, then they're nasab or mansoob, like they're the object.
If they have the alif.
Yeah, then they become the object of
Yeah.
the sentence, and
Yeah.
then they're the
Yeah.
mansoob. And then if they have the kasra, then they're
The ya, you mean? The ya.
yeah.
So the waw here will turn into a fatha for nasb and a ya for jar, and it'll be unnecessary in the sentence anymore.
And then it shows possession.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's different. Now you're talking about the ya of possession. So we're going to study the ya of possession on its own, right? But akhiha, that means it's majroor. Akhiha, right?
And then it kind of acts like a preposition, or what's the effect? Because I understand that marfu is subject and then mansoob is the object. So
Yeah.
what do we say that majroor is?
Majroor is an unnecessary word in the sentence. I mean, the sentence would have survived without it. It's an additional word. It offers an addition, of course, but for the sentence to live and survive, you didn't need it.
Sure.
That makes sense? That's what majroor. Anything that is like that, that takes that status, is majroor. So the word, of course, offers a meaning. It adds something.
It's neither the object of
Yeah, but the sentence would have survived happily without it. Like it could have existed as a sentence, full sentence, without needing it at all. All right. Okay. Again, the repetition of these things throughout this thing will make throughout the study will make them clear, inshallah. So if they're not clear, don't despair. So the waw is the marker of rafa', right? For 2 types of words. For the sound masculine plural, jam' al-mudhakkar as-salim. Examples of muslimun, mu'minun, ta'ibun, qanitun, right? Na'imun, mut'abun, which is basically our status. Sa'imun, inshallah, if any of you are. Right? And then the second category would be al-asma' al-khams, the exceptional 5 nouns. Ab, akh, ham, dhu, fu, right? And they have to be connected to something. So it has to be something after. Abu Fulan, Abu Ahmed, or Abuhu, or Abuha, something, Abuka, something like that, in order for the waw to be the marker of rafa'. Now, the sentence after, وَأَمَّا الْأَلِفِ. Now the third marker of rafa' is going to be al-alif. Right? وَأَمَّا الْأَلِفِ فَتَكُونُ عَلَامَةً لِلرَّفْعِ. It will be the marker of rafa' في تثنية الأسماء خاصة. Only one situation. It's only one. So this is easy. So it won't be too hard, inshallah. المثنى, the dual form. Arabic has this little thing that we don't know why, but it has it, where Arabic doesn't see 2 things to be plural. All right. So Arabs don't agree with 2 things being plural. So 1 is singular, 3 and up is plural, 2 they're not plural. All right, so 2 is a couple. So that's how the Arabs see it. It's a philosophical reason. So this is just how the Arabic language just sees things. Singular is 1, 3 and up is plural, 2 is called muthanna, the dual form, right? So you and your wife aren't a plural, you're not a group. You're just a couple, just 2 of you, right? You only become jama' when you have a child, right? Or you marry another wife. In that case, you're probably going to be dead pretty soon late after. But anyways, for a few moments, you'll exist as a plural, but then after that, you'll be gone. Anyways, so that's how Arabs see the language. So muthanna is something specific in Arabic. In English, it wouldn't be the same thing. English, there's 1 book, and there are 2 books, and 3 books, and then in English, when it's not 1, it's plural. In Arabic, no, there's 1, there's dual, and then there's plural. So dual is important, and there's a set of rules that regard couple or dual terms. So give me an example from the Quran if you can. Yalla ya Muhammad, yalla Hufaz, give me an example from the Quran of muthanna, of two things.
Jannatan.
There you go, very nice. So Jannah, that's the singular, right? And then Jannat was the what? Come on, what was the Jannat? Broken plural. Jam'at taksir. Very good. So that was the broken. So in between, there's something. Like there's something that exists between these two statuses, and this is called the dual Jannatan. So what did we do here? It's a very simple way. Any word singular word that you want to turn into muthanna to dual, you just add alif and noon to the end of it, or ya and noon later on. Like we'll study that in a while. But if you add alif and noon to the end of it, it turns into two. And what is the marker of rafa' for this dual term? What is the marker of rafa', the status of rafa' for this dual term? It's the alif. Why? What is another way for us to say it? Jannatain, right? There's another way to say it. Just give me a second. It's jannatain. You can say jannah, jannatain, and then of course the ya is there. The alif is not there anymore. That means when you see the word jannatain, you can say this is a dual term that is not marfu'. It does not have the status of rafa', because if it did, then it would have the alif, because that's the marker of rafa' for it. And this is the only time that the alif serves as a marker of rafa'. It's the only time. It's in the dual term. A dual term either exists with an alif or with a ya that has a fatha before it. So ضرب الله مثلا للذين كفروا امرأة نوح وامرأة لوط, right? كانتا تحت عبدين. So is the word abdain marfu'? No, because if it were, there would be an alif here, but there's not. There's a ya. كانتا تحت عبدين من عبادنا صالحين. Again, the same thing. It's not marfu'. If it were marfu', it would have find فخانتاهما فلم يغني عنهما الله شيئا وقيل داخلين.
Is it majroor because of the ya? Because it has a
no,
instead of a
no. We can't say anything right now. Let's arrive at that when we do. But for now, what you know now, because you don't know that yet, right? What you know now is that the alif for the dual term is the marker of rafa'. That's all you need to do. But I'm going to give you examples. So give me examples. Give me more examples of mudahammatan. Awesome. So mudahammatan. Now from the same surah, give me like a nice big number of them, because here's an alif, here's the marker of rafa'. فيهما عينان نضاختان. صح؟ عينان نضاختان. So عينان, the singular is عين and عينان, so that's the نضاخة is the singular, and then نضاختان is the dual term. So in the dual form, the marker of rafa' is going to be the alif. Okay? Wow, if you could see what I'm seeing right now. Level of confusion. But it's okay. It's okay. The way that Imam Alajurroomiyyah did his text is that he studied the same concept 3 times, each time from a different angle. So that if you're doing it, then if you're looking at from here and then from here, then you will end up with some clarity on the matter, inshallah, at the end. But just have to be patient, inshallah. Try to memorize as much as you can from the concepts that we're explaining. Try to, as much as you can remember from it, try to remember it, inshallah. So that's the third marker of rafa', the alif. So the first marker of rafa' was the dhamma. And the dhamma was a marker of rafa' in 4 situations: for the singular noun, for the broken plural, for the feminine sound feminine plural, and for the present tense verb that had nothing attached to the end of it. The second marker of rafa' was the waw, and it worked in 2 situations. It was the marker of rafa' for the sound masculine plural, jam' al-mudhakkar as-salim, mu'minun, muslimun, right? And it was the marker of rafa' for the exceptional 5 nouns: akh, ab, akh, dhu, hamu, dhu, fu, right? Abuka, akhuka, yani hamuka, dhuka, and fuka, or dhu malin, or dhu sultan, or whatever, right? Dhuka doesn't work. And then al-alif was the was the marker of rafa' for only 1 situation, was the dual term. Any dual term, the marker of rafi' is going to be the alif. The final one. وَأَمَّا النُّونُ yes.
And then so also for muslimatan, for the feminine group?
Yes, for everything. Muthanna doesn't matter. Whether it's masculine, feminine, it works in the same way. How you'll know it's feminine, there'll be a ta before the alif. So muslimatan instead of musliman, right? So you just add a ta to it, right? We'll come to that inshallah. وأما النون فتكون علامة للرفع في الفعل المضارع إذا اتصل به ضمير تثنية أو ضمير جمع أو ضمير المؤنثة المخاطبة. All right. Now the final marker of rafi' is an-nun. So you can see that they're letters. So after the dhamma, we had the alif, the waw, the alif, and the nun. So in different situations, each one of those letters will serve as a marker for rafi', right? Here, rahmatullah alayhi, this is an early text. So this was before the concept of al-af'al al-khamsa, the 5 verbs, came to light. So he talked about it in a bit of a kind of open way. So he said it's the nun is the marker of rafi' for a present tense verb if connected to it is the pronoun of duality, so the dual pronoun, because there's a dual pronoun, or the pronoun of plurality, so a plural pronoun, or it's attached to pronoun used to address the female gender, right? Now forget about all that because that's confusing, and I can just give you something much simpler inshallah. So there are 5 types of it's called af'al khamsa. So let's take the play yal'ab. So you can say and we'll finish with this inshallah. I want this to be as clear as possible to everyone here inshallah at the end of it. So if we're going to say about these kids who are running around that they're playing, right? So he's playing, and so these two are playing. Let's start with these two. So these two guys are playing. What would we say? Yal'aban, right? So we say yal'aban. Right? Hold on for a second. Hold on for a minute, you'll come to it. So let's say, Faris here joins them. So now 3 of them. So we say yal'abun. Right? Now let's say that let's say you're talking to 2 guys who are playing. So let's say I'm talking to them. I say antuma, you 2 are tal'aban, right? So I'll say tal'aban because I'm talking to them. I'm talking directly to them. I'm not talking about them. The ya is the ya al-ghiba, or ya not ghiba. You're talking about a third party. So tal'aban, right? If I'm talking to a lady, I'm talking anti, I'll say tal'abin. I'll say tal'abin. And if I'm talking to a group in front of me that they're playing, I'll say antum tal'abun, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? 5 different situations. 2 with the ya and 3 with the ta at the beginning of the present tense verb. Right? So the origin of the verb, is la'ib, right? The lam ayn ba. That's the origin of the verb. So the 5 verbs, or the af'al khamsa, 2 of them start with the ya and 3 of them start with the ta, and they have alif. Now what's the common thing between them right now? It is the noon. It's the noon, because you have an alif here, a waw here, a ya here, and a waw here, and an alif here. But the common thing between them is the noon. If any of these 5 examples that you see on the board are in the status of rafi', then you will know that by the fact that the noon exists here at the end of it. Capish? Does that make sense? So any of these 5 verbs, right, that work in these. You want me to write down in English who they're talking to? Let's do that. Yal'aban.
The 2 males playing?
Yeah, the 2 male third party. Right? Dual third party. Masculine. Dual third party. Right? Yal'abun. Masculine. Plural. Third party. تلعبان addressed dual, right? تلعبين addressed not necessarily. It could be for, yeah, so two ladies, this would work as well. That's where there's a difference of opinions among scholars of Nahu and Sarf. When you're talking, when you're using this, can you use for the dual female tal'aban or tal'abin? They differ a bit, but that's why I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it without the word masculine, just so we don't enter, because we'll talk about that inshallah at the end of the matan. So addressed female, and tal'abun addressed plural. Addressed plural. That makes sense? Any verbs that are one of these 5 things, what we want to know today is that the marker of the status of rafi' for them is thubut an-nun. The nun is going to be at the end of it. Meaning you can sometimes say these verbs without the nun at the end of it. Sometimes you can say yal'aba. There are certain situations where you'll say or tal'abu or tal'abi or yal'abi. No, yal'abi doesn't work, but yal'abu. But there are certain situations like that. But if you see that and the nun isn't there, then you can say that this is not marfu'a. The nun has to be there the nun has to be there. So the difference is, when we talked about the alif is changed. So if it's rafi', there's an alif, and if it's not rafi', it turns into a ya. Here, if it's rafi', there's a noon, and if it's not rafi', what happens? The noon goes away. There's no substitution here, right? It just disappears. The noon is taken out of the equation altogether. So you would find words in the Quran, إِلَّا تَفْعَلُوا or إِلَّا تَنْفِرُوا, right? You say, well, there's an alif at the end. That alif is silent. You don't say it. What happened here is that the noon was taken out. It was removed from the equation altogether. If the noon is there, taf'aluna, then you can say that this word is marfu'a. Tanfiruna, then you can say this word is marfu'a, because it's one of the 5 verbs, or the 5 types of verbs. Yes.
So if it has a waw and a nun, that could mean that the group has male and female.
So when you see waw and noon, right? Yeah, so it could be, it's plural. It's regardless of whether female or masculine, it doesn't matter. Masculine only exists here, right? Yeah, so only here. But here you don't, because here you're talking to the person in front of you. Here's addressed, here's third party, right? Here with the ya, third party, right? And here is addressed.
So you use the last one also for if it's like a female, plural?
Yeah. You can say, no, you can use something different, but it's not one of the 5 verbs. So you say antunna tal'abna, but that's not one of the 5 verbs anymore. So it doesn't, meaning the noon at the end is no longer the, these are called af'al al-khamsa, the 5, just like we had the asma al-khamsa, the 5 exceptional nouns, these are the 5 exceptional verbs. This is what they look like, right? You can take any word here and put it in, and you would be able to do the same thing, and then this would be the exact same thing that would apply to it. What is the marker of rafi' for them? Thubut an-nun. So not just a noon, thubut an-nun, the existence of the noon at the end of it. So to recap quickly, inshallah before the adhan, because I have to break my fast. We're going to recap by saying that rafi', the status of rafi', which is the main character of a sentence or the untainted or unchanged part of a sentence, has 4 markers. Al-dhamma, al-alif, al-waw, and thubut an-nun. Al-dhamma exists, it's the marker of rafi' for the singular noun, for the broken plural, right? For the feminine sound plural, or the sound feminine plural, and for the present tense verb that has nothing attached to the end of it. You see now, the present tense verb has things attached to the end of it. That's why the first time he said, has nothing attached to the end of it. Here it has. The waw is the marker of rafi' in 2 situations. For the sound masculine plural, like mu'minun, muslimun, right? And for the 5 exceptional nouns, like ab, akh, ham, dhu, fu, right? Abuka, akhuka, hamuka, fuka, and dhu malin or dhu sultan. The alif is the marker of rafi' in 1 situation only, for the dual term. Mu'minan, right? Musliman, mudhammatan, aynani, naddakhatan, jannatan, whatever. Right? You can find many. And the final marker of rafi' is noon, and it exists for af'al al-khamsa, for the 5 verbs. جزاكم الله خير. صلى الله عليه وسلم محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.